if that is the norm,
but it's slow. It's very slow.
Yes, that is what I'm saying. Now, my further question is, if that was the norm, it has now been put to you that the law is saying something different. So what is your position?
Well, if the law says something different, we should go by the law.
So now, having read the law and having received this letter, what is supposed to be your position?
Yeah, maybe it is, I don't know, subject to interpretation, because for us, we are with the belief that we are independent. The decisions we take are independent, but they are administrative procedures. And the ministry, being the supervisor and the coordinator of councils, have that administrative role. The commission doesn't have administrative responsibility. So maybe that is why the ministry is taking that role, because they are the supervisors, and to ensure that there is implementation. Because for the commission, we don't have we don't implement, you see. We don't have that supervision on the operations, you see, day-to-day running of the council, their finances. That's the ministry's responsibility. Maybe that is why the ministry took that responsibility. But for us, we would have preferred for letters to come direct to the commission, and from the commission direct to the councils. It will cut the bureaucracy, it will be more efficient, and I think I mentioned that in my earlier testimony. That's what we prefer. But maybe it's a process.
May I just read section 119 of the Local Government Act, which says, subject to the provisions of the Constitution and this Act, a local government service commission shall be independent and shall not be subject to the direction and control of any person or authority.
Yes.
What is your understanding of what the provision is saying?
That in our decision making, nobody should influence whatever decision we are to take.
So does it include you dealing with the issues directly?
Well, for my understanding, I'm not sure whether the administrative part is captured on that, because
I just read
because they quote the PSC, and in the PSC is a similar arrangement. The PSC don't implement; they take decisions and pass them to PMO, and PMO implements the decisions of the commission. So it was the same thing that the ministry was copying. Maybe in my appointment letter, that is why they even stated that. The commission, the other act, in the act also said that we have to conform to the standards, you see, of the Public Service Commission. So that's the relevant section, that's the section that the ministry quoted before they bring in the issue of the communication going through the ministry.
Yes, if the in this circumstance, the law is saying that your institution should not be controlled, should not be subject to direction and control of any person or authority. And would I be correct to say that the appointment letter that is given to you does not supersede, does not in any way supersede what is contained in the legislation?
Yes, it doesn't.
Thank you. And Mr. Jallo, why does it take so long for letters, for you to receive letters that you are supposed to act upon? You have explained in detail that in your appointment letter it is stated that everything should pass through the ministry. But given the situation as it is, why does it have to take so long to get the letters to your office for you to take responsibility in some of the things that you are supposed to do? What do you think informed that?
Because of the bureaucracy at the ministry. Yeah.
Thank you. Mr. Honorable Joyner has a question.
Hello. Thank you very much, Chairperson. I just wanted to establish the timeline and the location of these offices. Where is the PS's office located at?
At the ministry.
Who is your secretary?
The director of governance.
And where is his office located?
At the ministry.
How many doors are between the PS's office and the secretary's office?
I can't remember how many doors, but I know it's.
But they are on the
very
same
close.
floor.
The same floor.
Now, why does it have to take from the 6th to the 28th to have a document move from one office to another office? 14 days, and you're on the same floor.
Yeah, because maybe it goes through the records system. Because they're using the ministry's system. When the PS minute, it goes to the secretary to records office, and records will enter, push it to the secretary. But I don't, it's because of democracy, but that should not happen.
So you are telling me that it is normal for
it's not efficient.
to receive something in day one and have it processed to go to another office 14 days?
No, that's inefficiency
Okay, thank you.
of the system.
Okay.
May I just ask this further question? How many meetings have you held since you assumed office?
No, I can't remember.
Do you have the minutes of all those meetings? Because you just submitted to us two minutes of your meeting.
Yes, these were the one requested.
Yes, but how many meetings have you held over the period?
I can't remember.
Can you avail us all the minutes that you have had from the time you took over office
Okay, we'll do that.
to date, except for these two that have been admitted in evidence?
Okay.
Please do so and make sure you bring them tomorrow. Thank you.
Anyway, I will try.
Any further questions from the commissioners? Council?
I have no questions for the witness at this time. I will probably have some when all the documents are before the commission tomorrow. I'm grateful.
I think it's a convenient point to break for lunch, and we will be back after 1 hour. Thank you. We may rise.
1 2 1 2 audio check 1 2 1 2 audio check sound check 1 2 1 2 audio check mic check 1 2 1 2 mic check.
Extra, can you please call the witness?
Witnesses. Okay. And welcome to this Commission of Inquiry into Local Government Councils and related matters.
Thank you.
What is your religion?
Islam.
What language do you wish to speak?
English.
Do you wish to swear by the Holy Quran or make an affirmation?
I'll make an affirmation.
Madam Chair, the witness wishes to make an affirmation. Okay. You repeat after me. I.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Good afternoon, Mr. Jete and Mr. Tambura. Welcome to this Commission of Inquiry.
The statement, will you be able to recognize it?
Sure, yes.
Can you please see this document?
Yes.
Ask the Commission, please. I will now turn on to the gentleman on my left. Please state your names for the record.
I am Samba JB Tambura.
Can you tell us your occupation?
I am the Director, Compliance and Program. Yes.
Can we have the document, please? Honorable Chairperson, we apply to tender the statement of the witness dated 6th day of July 2023, Mr. Samba J. Tambura, into evidence as an example.
I went to Latrikuna Sabiji Primary School, and then Nusrat High School, and then I did my ACCA, Chartered Certified Accountants at UK, Module F. I also did...
may step into of the Gambia Public Procurement Authority, is that correct?
Correct.
And you became a director which year?
2022.
Now, what is now, so to start with, when we talk about procurement, what does it mean?
Procurement is defined as the process of purchasing goods, services. There are many reasons to it. Is to ensure that government institutions procure goods, services, works in such a way that is most cost-effective, timely, and delivers value for money, for taxpayers' money, and to ensure that they get all the factors of production, if you understand what I mean, in terms of, like I said, works, goods and services to do their operations.
So one money.
Sorry, let me just.
Please. Yeah.
Sorry for interjecting. Mr. G, draft.
Yes.
Has the draft been?
Yes, the draft has been completed, and the first validation was conducted, and we have the new regulation this past Saturday to the minister.
Actually, what they are getting, is that what you said?
Correct.
And then, what are the other reasons as to why there need to be these rules or regulations or guidelines in relation to procurement in public service?
Well, to ensure that there is sanity, to ensure that there are laws governing procurement, obviously, and to make sure that corruption is minimized, and to make sure that procurement goes the right way, in accordance with the law, observe the law.
When you say corruption is minimized, what do you?
Value for money. These are the principles of procurement, and this is what the procurement law tries to make sure is implemented and is achieved.
You have highlighted that already in your first point, and your second reason is we need to have these regulations. We need to be on top of things in relation to procurement in government sectors or institutions, so that we minimize, or there's minimal corruption practices. Is that correct?
Yes, I did say that.
Can you explain further in what you mean by that?
I think I've already explained that. Like I said, is to make sure that procurement follows the law. The rules that are set for procurement procedures is followed. And if that is not followed, obviously it will be open to misprocurement and corruption.
Are the possible, in your experience, General, what are the possible areas of or types of generally in relation to activities that may happen in certain public
are not followed, and that's what we are there to make sure it is followed, and this happens all the time in our work. That's our job to do, and basically make to the institution to follow the rules.
That happen in the area of, for example, trying to secure contract favorable supplier to get advantage or the other. That you better understand surrounding procurement in our public offices. Is
Sure.
that understood?
Sure.
Tell us the different procurement. Can you take it one?
Procurement methods.
Yes.
You said the types of procurement. You didn't say method. You said types of procurement. Types of procurement are there. Types of procurement methods are there.
Now, let's start with the types of procurement, and then we move to the types or methods of procurement. That's what he meant by direct, indirect, and service procurement. So we can just continue with you with respect to these two types of procurement, and we can have clarification with regards to your Director General in relation to the three types of procurement he had mentioned.
Okay, basically the public procurement is that procurement where the acquisition of goods, works, and services are by the use of public funds with prescribed procedure.
Very well. Please
That's
proceed.
public procurement. On the other hand, the private procurement is that strand of procurement outside the use of public funds. Outside the use of public funds, where private.
Can you give an example? Your office, by your institution as well?
No, the authority only regulates public procurement. Though
Very well.
private practitioners also are participants in public procurement.
Now, the Honorable Director General, can you further explain to us, when you mentioned that...
I was trying to reconcile. That's what I was trying to reconcile.
Yes, so let me help you. It is for you guys to tell us and the public regarding the role of your institution, that is the Gambia Public Procurement Authority. So you have to see us as lay people, see everyone that is listening as lay people, and so you educate the people regarding what your office does before we go into the compliance reports that you have outlined. We need to understand some of these basic principles.
Given here, which are the two types, public and private.
Yes, Mr. Jete, just to assist, I believe that all of you are technicians, so sometimes the use of terminologies, you know, you are set up as an authority, what is your role and responsibility? And when we start asking questions, we will see where the deficiencies are. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You're absolutely right. I understand the line of questioning is what we are here for also is public and private procurement. So I agree with you. So we'll go along the lines of the director's definition of the two types of procurement.
Yes, you can always come back another day and give us some of these clarifications. Let's leave that issue for now, and can you tell us the methods of procurement? What are the methods of procurement as per the Act?
There are lots of methods of procurement.
Yes.
Good. So these are the ones that are.
Yes, these are the.
These are the ones that are being recognized by our relevant laws and regulations.
As per the 2018 public procurement, we also have what we call open tender national. In other jurisdictions, instead of the two, they will tell you international and national competitive bidding. But open tender categorizes or envelopes the two. Open tender, international, open tender.
People outside of the jurisdiction can tender for goods, works, and services. You understand, even though it is not specified to be international. Thank you.
Exactly. Yes. So now, then following up on that, then what would you say is the difference between an open tender local and an open tender international?
I think I made reference to it, but the fundamental difference is 5 potential bidders. In that tender process, you have the right, as provided for in the law, to invite 5 potential bidders, either by direct invitation or by pre-qualification. 5 potential bidders to bid. For example, the reason for the restricted tender is the number of suppliers or economic operators most of the time are limited in nature and they are known to you. For example, if you want to buy vehicles, we all know, even the ordinary man in the street knows that there are restricted vehicle dealers in the country. Number. By publicizing it, advertising it, you can invite them directly to come and participate. That's just an example. It is a procurement law method recognized by law for reasons that number. It was not part of your question, but I can explain the condition for the use of procurement for the restricted tender.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, the other condition is specialized equipments or materials. There are certain materials that are specialized. In that case, you target those specialists who are specialized in the production or in the supply of those specialized materials. In that case, it means you should limit yourself to that number of bidders. Another reason is because of urgency. Consideration for open tender may be disproportionate to the value of the institutional structures at institutional level that oversees all procurement.
Thank you.
Yes, you have explained open tender method, restricted tender method, and now can you explain what is meant by request for quotation?
Request for quotation is also, to some extent, a kind of restrictive method. However, the threshold involved in request for quotation, the threshold involved is 1 million and below. There are two. Once you satisfy the price, the threshold, you have the right to go in for that method. But sometimes you may not satisfy the price aspect, the threshold aspect, but you may satisfy other conditions. That can also necessitate for the use of the method.
So when you say you can go ahead without having prior approval?
Okay, like if you go back to the act, you realize that the contracts committee, which is one of the most important institutional structures at procurement organization level, they also have a kind of a mandate. So the law provides that in that event or in this circumstance, they can conduct the procurement following the whole procurement from the requisition to delivery. The law allows them.
But then the law allows you to go ahead with the procurement. Once you have completed, you can still go ahead and get approval. That's just me thinking.
In other words,
prior approval and first review.
Yes. Others will call it the prior approval, the ex ante. Thereafter, the evaluation report is sent back to GPPA. So at every stage, it's sent back to GPPA for us to review the evaluation report and approve or otherwise. So that's the prior review. Submissions are made at every stage of the procurement process. Sometimes there are certain amount involved, certain threshold amount involved. It may be less than $1 million, but still you need to come to GPPA because the procurement method you intend to use, the amount involved is above the threshold. Let's say if you want to single.
What I mean is that, you know, the procurement method will be determined by the threshold. In this instant, we are talking about request for quotation. But if it is, for example, more than 500,000, for you to seek the approval for the further step to do the procurement.
Very fundamental structure in an institution. They determine the use of a particular procurement method. It means the ability. The law allows you to go in method. A has won. During the implementation, you saw the need for additional work. The law allows you to give that additional work to the same contractor because it's a contract based on competition.
Do you medical and financial when it comes to the consultancy activity?
Okay, let me clarify here because request for proposal, as per our country system, is both a method and a process.
If I can get you right, you said that is regardless of the amount. There is nothing like threshold.
Once it is consultancy, the amount involved is no more significant.
Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Commissioner.
Very much, Madam Chair and Council. I just wanted some clarification on request.
There are two ends. I said that clearly. So it means the first end, the 500,000 and below, that is only discovered by the authority when we go in for our compliance review at the end of the year. But still now, within request for quotation, from 500,000 to $1 million, it's still request for quotation, but it comes to us at every stage. So it means if there are anomalies, we can easily discover it real time. Thank you.
Yes, so for in public affairs, the structure.
He listed another one, which is the frame. Can he just highlight?
Yeah.
So normally framework agreements and the single framework agreements. In this case, all the fuel dealers in the country subject the whole process to completion. But during the process, they have to understand
price index. What would happen to the changes in variation of inflation, etc.?
Yeah. This I know is a concern expressed by most of the suppliers. We are fully aware. Yes. But let's say as a regulator, we are also very concerned in opportunity savings. How do you save money? That's why at the beginning you made it very clear. You never impose it on them. This is my requirement. Those who are ready to accept the requirement, this may have a damning impact on the performance of the economic operator. You can also make it flexible by price adjustment. During the contract, prices are subjected to adjustment of a particular examination committee.
So these are 4 committees. Yes.
Examination committee.
So these are 4 committees.
Yes, and the 5th is the disposal committee.
Disposal committee.
Yeah.
So this is a structure that should be in place.
Yes, let me clarify. So the first 2,
yes,
the contracts committee and the specialized procurement unit, these are mandatory structures.
Yes.
They are mandatory structures. The evaluation committee and a best practice. The committee, maybe no need for a disposal committee because you don't conduct anything.
Because what?
Disposal are 3 mandatory members, and normally they have an ad hoc member who has a mastery and understanding of the subject matter. You always invite such a person as an ad hoc member. Yes. That's the contracts committee. So they are fundamental.
Before you proceed, the subject matter specialist, which is supposed to be ex-committee in the specific...
approves all procurements at requisition stage, at every stage.
Yes.
At institutional level, the contracts committee is a kind of GPPA at institutional level.
Yes.
They do everything. They approve the use of single source. They approve the use of single source. They approve the procurement plans, do evaluation, make recommendation for award, etc. Yes. They oversee the conduct of procurement throughout the process, basically.
So now, you have made a very important point with respect to the fact that they performed the role of GPPA.
In terms of your procurement, what do we intend to buy for a particular year? So during implementation, if there is a need now to procure something very specific, the law requires that you try to ensure that this particular procurement was planned for. It means it must have been in the procurement.
Part, but again, we're for the public. You're using the words requisition. Please explain what it means, and then you proceed with that.
Okay, requisition, I think, as the name implies, once you have the intention to buy, there is a particular form. Form is part of our forms.
Yes.
So it is a requisition because it is the form you use to make a request to initiate procurement. The request it is embedded in a particular form. That requisition, or as you call it, form.
Regulations on the section. The technical committee. This one is optional, right?
The evaluation committee is optional, but regardless of the numerous structures, all these structures are answerable to the contracts committee. They are all answerable to the contracts committee. All their activities must be subjected to the approval of the contracts committee at every stage, including awards decisions.
So the SPU, the Special Procurement Unit, do you have anything like a procurement unit and then a special procurement unit? Is there any difference between these two?
There is no difference except the name. There is no difference. If you look at the procurement is talking about the unit supervision that is taxed to procurement.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you. I just wanted to know, is it and the committee must be staffed with a
Constitution led by
provide a procurement specialist within the institution to be delayed or may not be seen in a good light?
then it would not avert it. But if the person is not competent, yes, then it can delay the procurement process. But certainly it is taken into consideration in the rating. For instance, now we are authorizing institutions to conduct their procurement. And one of the criteria we rate the institution's capability to conduct its own procurement is the rating of the SPU. If a qualified person is heading the SPU and the members of the SPU are qualified, then get a higher rating. Otherwise, they can get a poor rating.
As a follow-up,
I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, as a follow-up, the procurement specialist, that is within, not, you've made mention, if it is not, it will delay the, also hampers of the institution in certain.
In the event that there is a petition on
as per the 2014 Act and 2001 Act, we used to have representation. But because of that potential conflict of interest, it was advisable that we are not represented at the complaint board, but all their deliberations, etc., we are copied.
Thank you. Council, you can proceed.
Yes. Realize.
Okay, that's the report for Banjul City Council.
How many reports?
These are 2 reports for the year. We have one report for the year 2020, the other one for the year 2019.
Can I please see them? Together with the Let me first start, dated the 25th of October 2022, for the year ended 31st December 2020, in evidence as an exhibit.
Dated the 19th of February 2021, signed by Paul Mendif on behalf of the Director General. It's MKJ, is hereby admitted in a bundle in evidence and marked as LGC /GPPA /BCC documents. So we will adjourn today
Madam
so
Chair.
that you can put your house in order.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much. At this point, we would...
I am thinking if admitted the two, would it be much more appropriate to just have it with the commissioner so that they can bring the extra one?
Extra one?
Yes,
Okay.
since you've
We
already
can-
admitted them.
Yes, let us have the two that has been already at this point. We may rise and we expect you tomorrow here. Thank you so much.
What time?